How are y'all doing today? My name's Chris. Welcome back to Bourbon Sane. A few months back, I put out a video talking about the top 5 bourbons you should always have on your bar. And honestly, the video got a really good response. I had a lot of people give me feedback on that video. A lot of people watched it. And a lot of people said, hey, you need to make a rye whiskey video. You know, what are those top 5 rye whiskeys that you should always have on your bar? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Obviously, this subject is very subjective. You know, each person has a different top 5 lists. It was very, very difficult for me to limit this to just 5. So let me get that out of the way first. And I'm going to have a couple honorable mentions at the end as well. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But if you haven't yet, please do like this video, subscribe to the channel, and do me a favor, let me know what are your top 5 rye whiskeys, or even just 1 or 2 that are your favorites you always have to have on your bar. I do have a couple rules for today. So, like my other videos or with the top 5 bourbon videos, these bottles have to be affordable. So when I say affordable, I'm talking like $60, $50 or less, maybe even, most of them are going to be under that price anyway. So, but I'll say 60, 65 will be the max on it. Number 2, they have to be attainable. So once again, these have to be available in most markets. You have to be able to, in majority of the country, I understand distribution's different, but majority of the country be able to get these on a day-to-day basis at most stores you're going to go into. And then number 3, I think it has to drink above its price point. You know, for all these ryes I chose today, I do think they drink above their price point, and it's something that you could probably introduce to nearly every whiskey drinker, at least for a lot of them. So without further ado, let's get right into number 5 today. Okay, these are in no particular order. These are just my top 5. But number 5 is going to be a bottle I actually just killed about 2 weeks ago. Wild Turkey Rare Breed Rye. And honestly, I think you could include the Wild Turkey 101 in this as well. As a lot of you know, I'm a fanboy for Wild Turkey. I really am. A lot of people don't talk about their rye whiskey, though. Bruce Russell, who is Eddie Russell's son, he's going to be, he has the heir to Wild Turkey. The heir to Wild Turkey. He's going to be doing the distilling there, and already is starting to for some of it. But he's the rye guy. Literally, his Instagram handle is the rye guy, So he's really in charge of the whole rye making process over there and what they're putting out in the bottles. And I do think the 101 rye is some of the most underrated rye in the market, especially for the price. It's about the same price as the bourbon is, so about the $26 price point here in Michigan. And I think at that flavor profile you get, it's got an extra level of sweetness in it, which I do get in a lot of Wild Turkey anyway. I think it's got quite a sweet profile to begin with. But if you do want to take a step up into something that's a little barrel proof and higher proof and really, really good mouthfeel, really good finish, that's where I lean towards that Wild Turkey barrel proof rye. Am I dreaming this, or did they do picks on that too? Has anyone ever seen a barrel pick of the Rare Breed rye? I never have, but I think I maybe saw that, or it was a rumor or something. Let me know if you've ever seen those. I think both, though, underrated bottles, and that Rare Breed rye is still about similar price as the Rare Breed itself. $50, $60 in some market at the most, and always delicious, always really good. And I just love Wild Turkey, man. Coming in at number 4, I think is a whiskey company that a lot of people don't talk about their rye. They rave over their bourbons a lot of times. Michter's. Now this bottle is the Michter's Toasted Barrel Strength Rye, and very fortunate to get a couple of these. Some of my favorite ryes out there are these. But I'm just talking about their base entry-level Michter's Straight Rye. The beauty of Michter's and what they do with their whiskey, and I think nearly all of them or all of them, is their low barrel entry proof. So they put that distillate into a barrel at only 103 proof, which is very low. I mean, the industry standard is about 125. So they put it at 103, and they think it gives you a better viscosity, mouthfeel, finish, all that good stuff. All those notes you love and all that feeling you get on your palate. And quite honestly, I agree with them. And that's not just me saying that. I went and did a tasting at Michter's. I did their tour, and actually I put a review out of that distillery and that tour as well if you want to watch that. But I did it, and at the end they had a tasting, and what they did is they had their same distillate, the straight rye, barreled at 125, and then barreled at 103 when it was put into the barrel. And it was very interesting. You could definitely taste the difference. To me, it wasn't so much in the flavor, but it had a little bit more creaminess, a lot more mouthfeel, a lot better finish. Still being that low proof. I think that's still around a 90 proof for that. But you can honestly taste the difference in that entry proof. So if you want something that's a little bit different as far as that goes, and it's fun to experiment with. It's fun to just be able to try 2 things that went in at 125 and then something that went at 103 and see if you can taste the difference in it. I enjoy doing those experiments all the time. And not only that, it's a very good intro rye for someone who's just getting into whiskey. Coming in at number 3 is still probably the rye whiskey that I will introduce to anybody who wants to tiptoe from bourbon to rye, and that's the Old Forester rye. Now, I don't remember the exact ratio. I want to say this is 20% malted barley, and that is very, very different from almost every other rye or bourbon on the market. The higher malted barley gives you a definite like floral, and this is obviously brown form in the Old Forester is, so a banana, floral, creamy note that comes through. You know, a lot of honey. It pushes towards Scotch a little bit. You know, I don't want to. It's not Scotch for sure. It's still definitely a rye whiskey, but it kind of gives me that Scotch-like profile with all that malted barley, and I think it does really come through really nice. Old Forester still to this day remains that rye that I will say, hey, you want to tiptoe from bourbon to rye? Do it. Try this. It's nice and approachable, the proof, but it's still respectable. They upped the proof to 100, which I think is great. It drinks lower than that, though. The spice isn't there. That higher malted barley takes a back seat, gives that rye spice a back seat to what's up front. You know, all those notes I described before. And Old Forester now did also make the barrel strength rye. So the barrel strength rye is very good, too. That's going to obviously hit you in the face a lot more with that rye spice because it's still youthful. You can definitely tell that barrel strength rye is youthful, but it hits you in the face with that rye spice. Definitely a lot more flavor punch than the regular 100. But I think for people new to whiskey, this is the one you'll want to recommend for them. Coming in at number 2, and honestly 1 and 2 could have gone either way because I love both of them. Heaven Hill product, Pikesville Rye. Now for those of you that don't know, this is the older brother of the Rittenhouse. Probably my go-to cocktail rye, if I want to use a rye. It's just made for a cocktail, 100 proof, Rittenhouse rye is. But this is the older brother, higher proof brother. 110 proof this comes in. No age is disclosed, but probably around 6 years most likely for this Pikesville. And honestly, I love the versatility of this rye. I use it in cocktails all the time. As mentioned, the base Rittenhouse is probably my cocktail rye all the time anyway. But you can use it in a cocktail. It's not super unaffordable. It's about $50. So not super unaffordable to where you feel bad using it in a cocktail. But I drink this neat all the time. I love the flavor profile that comes through. This actually gives me a nice rye kick that I want. The Rittenhouse and this both do give me a more rye-forward palate. And sometimes I want that. You know, sometimes I want those flavors of an older aged rye where it's going to be mellowed out, that rye spice is, and it's going to be more of a creaminess that comes through. But when I want a rye, this is what I usually go to. And as mentioned, I have no problem sipping this neat, putting it on some ice because it is 110 proof, or putting it in a cocktail. And honestly, some of the best cocktails I've had have been made with this. So let me know. Do you guys like Pikesville? I've been drinking it for years now. I don't know if it's gone out of favor. I don't hear people talking about it much anymore. Or is there a new rye that's taken the mantle for it? Coming in at number 1, there's no way I could leave this one off the list. It's my favorite rye, I think. Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof Rye. Now, this is not for everyone. Okay, this isn't for everyone. Let me just say that and get that out there. This bottle, and they're all different, you know, because it's a single barrel proof. This bottle is 65.15 ABV. So it's hot. And not only is it hot, it's rye. So it's even hotter. Because this isn't super hyper aged. You know, it's not. But that's okay. That's okay. I mean, when I drink this, I know what I'm getting into. I don't mix this into cocktails usually. You know, if I'm going to drink this, I want something that's going to kick me in the face, take my teeth with them, and, you know, give me a nice, warm Kentucky hug. Tennessee hug, I suppose, you know, is what it would be. Tennessee tug, I believe is the word. But it's really good. It's really, really good. I remember the bourbons have always been some of my favorites. You know, these Jack Daniel's single barrel proof bourbons. When they finally extended to the rye, I didn't try it for like a year after they came out. And I regret that year of not trying it. Because I love it that much. Since then, I've been having this plus a backup at all times. Had a few picks of these as well. Very good. Very good. I don't think there's a huge difference in flavor profile in the picks of the rye that I've seen, at least with the few I've had, as compared to the bourbon store picks. Could just be the bottles I had. They're all single barrel, so, you know, it's a crapshoot. But if you're someone who is not new to whiskey, you know, you're a little more, you've been into whiskey a while or into bourbon, you can handle that hot stuff, you already like the barrel proof stuff, and now you want to transition to rye a little bit, no better option than this. No better rye in the market, I don't think, and this is still about 60 bucks everywhere in the country. Okay, a couple quick honorable mentions here. I couldn't put these on my top 5, but I love them both, honestly. Sagamore Rye, I think, is doing everything right as far as rye goes. It's a Maryland rye, so not a Kentucky rye. Gives you a completely different flavor profile. It's definitely more chocolatey, is what I get on this all the time. So dark fruits, chocolate, and that's a good thing. I love those flavor profiles. So chocolate covered raisin all day in those. This is the 7-year cask strength, but their older expressions, man, oh, love them. And another one that I don't think anybody talks about their rye much, the Knob Creek. So this is the Knob Creek 10-year rye, which is a great starting point. It's got that age in there. It takes off some of the bite of the rye spice. Only 100 proof also, so it's okay for experienced and new whiskey drinkers. And one of my favorites was their 13-year cask strength. You know, when those first dropped multiple years back now. But I love those things. I mean, that had that hyper-aged flavor profile. It was almost like a Knob Creek funk is how I described it. But I think a lot of people, as mentioned, don't talk about Knob Creek as far as their rye goes. They've always been some of my favorites. And typically with my Knob Creeks, I won't use them in cocktails. I'll drink them straight because I enjoy the flavor profile. You know, a lot of things on this list, as mentioned, I will use in cocktails. This is what I'll typically use, you know, drink neat, along with the Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof Rye, of course, too. So either way, you can't go wrong with either one of these distilleries. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please do let me know down below in the comments, what did I miss? You know, what would you have included in your top 5 that I didn't have here? Or would you agree with this list? You know, would these be included in your top 5? I love all these, and of course there's many more I could have included. Very hard to limit it to a top 5, but we had to do it today. If you haven't yet, please do check out my Patreon page. Got a lot of cool stuff going on over there. Early access videos like this, behind the scenes footage, merchandise that you can get sent to you for being a patron. So give it a check out. We have a lot of fun over there. And if you haven't yet, check out my website, bourbonsane.com. Weekly news, reviews, articles, that type of stuff. If you're into written content, that's where you want to be. Appreciate each and every one of you being here. I hope you guys have a great week. Stay insane.